Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 10. The federal government has announced the implementation of cost-cutting measures that will ensure the country saves at least 10 billion naira ahead of Nigeria's participation in the 2024 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP29, in November. Nigeria's Special Envoy on Climate Change and Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajaero, stated this in Abuja. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde reports.
President Bola Tinubu takes the court on the cost of governance a notch higher as he continues to tighten the noose on wasteful government spending. The president's spokesman says, unlike the last climate change summit in Dubai that caused public outcry, there is a deliberate and meticulous effort to draw down costs.
An exercise has been concluded detailing exactly what the expenditure profile was of COP28 with a view to ensuring that we implement measures that would ensure that whatever is spent ahead of COP29 has a function that will lead to the economic empowerment of our people and the economic development of our nation.
Ajaero, in his capacity as Special Envoy on Climate Change, insists this year's climate summit will cost the country 10 billion naira less than previous expenses.
The nearly $500,000 showcase pavilion that was purchased for last year's COP28 will no longer be an item of expenditure in COP29. In addition, the delegates' office that we will be using to conduct bilateral meetings and other meetings that otherwise would have been conducted in the showcase pavilion, we will be conducting in the delegates' office that will cost less than 10% of the cost of the showcase pavilion.
There are also plans to ensure transparency and accountability through a portal that will give Nigerians access to real-time details of government spendings at COP29.
This will also ensure that anyone who is attending this conference has an economic imperative to be at that conference, engaging with companies, multilateral partners and stakeholders who will attract finance and opportunity into the country for the benefit of our people.
This court on the cost of governance seems to be a course President Bola Tinubu has charted for his administration. Nigerians are also ready to walk this road with the government as they look out for transparency and accountability all the way. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Now to other stories. The Nigeria Labour Congress has requested an extension of time for its president, Joe Ajaero, to honor the police invitation over allegation of terrorism financing. In a letter by solicitors to the NLC signed by Samuel Ogala, they said Joe Ajaero is unable to honor today's invitation as he has an engagement that had been fixed before the invitation letter. The letter also stated that Mr. Ajaero is prepared to attend the interview on Wednesday, 29th of August. The NLC president is also requesting to know details and the nature of the allegations of criminal conspiracy, terrorism financing, treasonable felony, subversion and cybercrime leveled against him. Members of the union earlier today gathered at the union's headquarters in Abuja as a show of solidarity for the NLC president. In the meantime, the General Secretary of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Emma Ogbuaja, and a senior advocate of Nigeria and former Attorney General of Kwara State, Salman Jawondo, spoke on the invitation of the President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, by the police.
Denying that they were not after NLC, when we knew from the word go that we have been the subject of brutal attacks and manipulations from the Nigerian police. He's not on the run. Mr. Ajaero will make himself available. The Nigerian police will not deny, and then at midnight they send out notices that they want Ajaero the next day. Mr. Ajaero is an international figure. He's not a security risk. He's not a flight risk. He's not going anywhere. We are Nigerians. We're not running away from these people.
given the police powers under the Police Act and the Constitution, the invitation is not out of place. The police has that power to invite anybody in respect of any matter being investigated by the police. And from the content of the letter and the fact that the allegations stated there in the crimes being investigated are serious crimes, which ordinarily the police are entitled to arrest a suspect or a defender. Now, having not arrested or made an attempt to arrest him by extending an invitation, I think the police is civil enough. However, given the time frame between the time the letter was delivered to him and the time was to appear, I think it was too short a period. So I think that's the only area where I think is asking for extension is justified.
For more perspectives on this developing story, a legal practitioner, Bolanle Olugbani, joins me on the news at 10. Mr. Olugbani, the Labour Union has already cried foul over the invitation of its president. Did the police err in law with a 24-hour notice?
Well, I don't think that there's a stipulated time within which the person suspected of a crime, should be given before he appears before the police. But of course, one would expect that the police will give a reasonable time. Of course, the Constitution in Section 36, says that everyone, suspected or alleged to have committed a crime is presumed innocent until proven guilty. The sheer nature and the gravity of the alleged offences, the punishment being, of a capital nature, high crimes, treason, are serious enough, for the police to have enough evidence before making such allegation and preparing such an invitation for a very public person like the NLC president. And one would be wondering who the complainant is.
All right. And we know that now the NLC lawyer has asked for extension. What is the implication of this to the police investigation of alleged terrorism financing?
Well, the police will, in Nigeria, the practice in Nigeria is that the police arrest first and look for evidence later. I think that, the police in Nigeria may have progressed to a point where they may have gathered enough evidence before inviting anyone who is suspected of having committed a crime. And the NLC, by its own constitution and its own activities, and the activities of protesting, demonstrating, and calling of strikes, are within their rights as far as the constitution has provided. And all of this should not be construed by the Nigeria police in an act of perhaps overzealousness or overreaction to make them label the NLC president and the NLC, by extension, capable or alleging that they have committed treasonable acts. Terrorism financing, well, they are going to have to, show a lot of evidence to be able to establish that.
All right, then. Legal practitioner Bolanle Olugbani, thank you for talking to us on TVC News at 10.